All right, everyone. So I made a video last time about, the potential um, cross platforms for Xbox exclusives going to other platforms. And this article I find that apparently, yes, Xbox apparently is fast tracking a next generation platform or successor to the Xbox Series. This, however, if they're going to continue doing hardware, this is actually the logical step into it. So apparently there is also rumors that Sony is working on a dedicated handheld that will play games natively on it. And honestly, we're basically to the point now that it is possible to have AAA style games in a handheld form. The Switch was like kind of the start. Now in 2024, we have PC handhelds like the ROG Ally, Lenovo Legion Go. We also have the Steam Deck, of course. And of course, later this year, whatever Nintendo comes out with the Switch successor. This, however, makes sense for Xbox. And that is apparently they are going to come out with two different SKUs. A cheaper version where it's a dockable handheld, basically their version of a Switch, and a traditional console. Now, the reason why this makes a lot more sense is because, guess what? Especially with Game Pass and especially with how they want to have the ability to play games wherever you are on any screen. So, this article is on WCCF Tech. Now, I haven't really heard of this site before, but it actually makes a lot of sense. And it seems like, they were just going to do like a traditional console release for a successor, and apparently that's supposedly been pretty much scrapped, and they're going in a completely different direction now. So yeah, we can talk about like first party games going to other platforms, mainly the PlayStation and Switch, but this actually makes sense. And for two reasons, for two big reasons. One, it allows Xbox to have a first party handheld device so that you can play games natively on it, or you can also just use it to stream. And the other thing, and I don't know if this is like on the table or anything. I don't know if you remember what Valve tried to do several years ago with the whole Steam machine. Basically, have like different machines that will run a version of Steam OS running on it. What if the console side of it is basically taking the Xbox interface operating system and allowing other manufacturers to basically come out of the box that runs that on it. Now, if you don't know about that, it's basically a modified version of Windows with a different interface essentially, and basically very locked down. So something like this, especially even on the handheld side of it, is very enticing. So I'll just start reading through this article here. The next generation Xbox is releasing in two different SKUs, and the cheaper one will be a Nintendo Switch-like handheld that will be able to play Xbox games natively while also supporting cloud gaming. Speaking during the latest update of the XNC Xbox Newscast podcast, middle-aged game guy commented on the next Microsoft console, saying that it is still on track for a 2026 release and that it will launch at 2 different SKUs. The most expensive SKU will be a traditional game console like the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X, while the cheaper SKU will be a dockable handheld in the vein of the Nintendo Switch created by the Surface team with built-in controls and a touchscreen supporting cloud gaming that is capable of running Xbox games natively. As Microsoft's strategy seems to be changing drastically over the past few console generations, it wouldn't be exactly surprising to see the company attempt to expand into the handheld market. Despite this, we must take everything with a grain of salt until the next generation Xbox console is officially revealed. If Microsoft is indeed going third party, releasing some of the best exclusives like Starfield, the Gears of War series, Hi-Fi Rush, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and others on Sony's console, one really has to wonder about what sort of appeal another console by Microsoft could have. With other rumors saying that Microsoft could be lagging behind Sony in the next console generation. That's also a lot of uncertainty around that is unlikely to be completely addressed next week when the company provides an update on its future strategy. Now, the reason why this route would actually make a lot more sense for Microsoft to continue with first-party hardware is because of the handheld part of it. So basically, this allows them to have a compelling handheld device for even like the Japanese market. This is probably going to be the device that in Japan has people flocking over to that handheld because of Game Pass. You have to understand that Game Pass is going to be their killer app going forward. So one of the bottlenecks currently with having Game Pass is that you are locked to essentially a television screen when it comes to playing games through Game Pass natively on hardware. So having a dedicated handheld device that can also support playing games natively on it resolves that issue. And especially now with a lot more people more interested in the handhelds now, which is kind of ironic because I remember several years back people were saying it's like, oh, dedicated handheld devices are a thing of a past. Well, that's not necessarily true. It's actually the home console that is fading away. And technology is getting to the point that you can have a powerful enough handheld device, and especially like with NVIDIA and AMD excelling in the upscaling side of things, you can actually have games look pretty decent on a large display by upscaling and the whole AI upscaling, and you can still take the handheld with you and just play wherever you want. So this is probably something that does make a lot more sense. So it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward, but if they are fast tracking a successor to the Xbox Series console, then yeah, the handheld part of it is actually going to be the more enticing one. And I'll just say this too: if this is going to be true, and that there are going to be 2 different SKUs, then yeah, for me personally, I would actually be more enticing, or it will be a lot more enticing with the handheld than the traditional console. Because for me personally, I have a gaming PC, so worst case scenario, if I'm at home, I can just play the games on my PC and then just have the portable stuff on that portable Xbox. And the fact that they're using the Surface division to basically design that, it would actually be really, really cool. And if you never use any of the Surface devices before, they're actually very solid devices. And this can be something where if Microsoft wanted to go this route, is that they can basically have a specialized version of the OS and have people that already have like the ROG Ally, the Legion Go, and other like PC handhelds. And maybe Microsoft will have to like vet the hardware to make sure it's like, all right, this is something that we're going to approve to have support for. How cool would it be if people even like me that already have a ROG Ally just install a special version of a Xbox operating system on that device, and away you go. So this is actually the most logical step. And, if anything, I would actually say, why not just drop the home console part of that SKU and just come out with a portable Xbox? So that would probably be one thing I would change. It's like just ditch the home console part of it and just do the handheld. I'm sure within 2 years, by the time that handheld comes out, if it actually does, of course, that technology would progress enough that it will probably be just as capable as an Xbox Series X, if I'm being quite honest with you. So we'll have to wait and see, but I think this is the logical step of a Xbox hardware successor. So we'll have to wait and see. If this is actually true, this is actually going to be really exciting, because if you're someone that does subscribe to Game Pass, that would be a really good handheld to have. So we'll have to wait and see. But if it is true, yes, I want 2026 to be here right now. That's just my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Leave those comments down below. And like always, have a good one.